5G. It's a brand new mobile network that's being rolled out right now. And some say that this new tech is going to revolutionize our lives. But others are convinced that 5G is dangerous.
They're going to put these towers everywhere, and people are so hooked on their toys, they don't even know what's going down.
Brussels recently banned 5G, saying its people will not be guinea pigs. On Science Versus, how worried should you be about 5G? That's Science Versus 5G. Tap now on Spotify to hear it.
Ooh, if you could see what I'm seeing right now. A cheesy, sizzly, sausagey, tasty, toasty breakfast deal for my belly eat? That's right. It's your favorite McDonald's breakfast Sammys. And right now, you can pick 2 of them for just $4 from the bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, sausage McMuffin with egg, and bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddles. Now let's see you hitting that drive-thru to get more out of breakfast. At participating McDonald's for a limited time, only at breakfast. Single item at regular price. Wake up breakfast.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. Over 95% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2019 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Your side, I've been standing on your shoulders when I know you'd be dancing in circles around me, dancing in circles around me, dancing in circles. Tell me what I have to do to walk beside you. I'm feeling dizzy and I need you to let me down and see. I've been standing on your shoulders. Now I see you dancing in circles around me, dancing in circles around me, dancing in circles. Tell me what I have to do to walk in your shoes. Tell me what I have to do to be the one that's by your
nowhere to go. Remember, go on, no fear. Go on until the end. Go on, no fear, and don't look away. You don't want a sad song, a bad song, to keep you straight every day. You just want a fun song, a fun song to keep. Motivation, motivation, you can do more and better. Motivation, motivation, you can get what you deserve. Remember, forever, never gonna stop till you see the edge. As long as you have a breath. This is motivation song. This is motivation song. Now you feel strong, you know what to do. No matter how you feel, just never give it up. You've gotta break your fear, throw it away. No matter who you are, if you know where to go. Remember, go on, no fear. Go on until the end. Go on, no fear, and don't look away. You don't want a sad song, a bad song, to keep you straight every day. You just want a fun song, a fun song to keep. Motivation, motivation, you can do more and better. Motivation, motivation, you can get what you deserve. Remember, forever, never gonna stop till you see the edge. As long as you have a breath. This is motivation song. When I hear words like those, I feel I'll never stumble or fall. When I hear words like those, I feel I'll never stop or give up. When I hear words, when I hear words. Motivation, motivation, you can do more and better. Motivation, motivation, you can get what you deserve. Motivation, motivation, you can do more and better. Motivation, motivation, you can get what you deserve. Remember, forever, never gonna stop till you see the edge. As long as you have a breath. This is motivation song. This is motivation song. Those eyes were like the poison deep in my mind. You're like the siren I couldn't fight. This time I was trapped and waiting to die. All my life I've been addicted to the wrong side. Every road I took I despise. I won't lie, there's no exception here for this time. The heavens don't remember you. I
Hello, everybody. It's your mad mom of the internet coming at you with another coffee talk. And for those of you on Periscope who are still seeing the title from Tuesday, we are talking about the coronavirus, the budgeting, the letter of request for reappropriation of bills, and a little bit of twittiacy this morning because Elizabeth Warren proposed a... Well, we'll get to the bill. We will get to the bill because the bill is twittiacy incarnate. And for those of you that don't know what twittiacy is, that is a Maddy-ism that you get when you combine Twitter and idiocy. Twittiacy. So over on the YouTubes, we have a Mitch the Ripper, a Green Badger, a Seamus, and a Richo so far, typing in my live chat. Hello, how are you? And welcome back. I hope you have your favorite seat and your best drink. I drank all my coffee already, so I'm having a little bit of juice. We're not having that in my live chat. Don't make me mama you. I'll do it. I will do it. I will mama you. I will mama the hell out of you. So yeah, today we got a lot of stuff. Morning, Unchained. How are you? We've got a lot of stuff to deal with this morning. I want to start with government tweets and find out what's going on and what's popping over there first. So we're probably going to go over there. We don't have anybody popping in over on D-Live or Periscope just yet. So, hello, Foxy. How are you this morning? So yeah, lots of things happened. I had my coffee. I had my 3 cups, my standard 3 cups in the morning to get my brain semi-going, even though my sleep is, Jesus, more broken than a jigsaw puzzle. But I'm doing all right, and I have no clue how I'm cognizant, but I'm here. So, yeah, let's go ahead and start with a little bit of Twitter stuff today. So we're going to come over here. Blip, we're going to come over here. And then we're going to hit into the coronavirus. Let me see here. Government agencies. So here's our government dump. Showing up nice and pretty over here. Yep. Well, hello, MC. How are you? We just got started. So you're not necessarily late, my dear. You're not necessarily late. Let me full screen this thing. It's being a pain in the butt this morning. So we will... that's good. I thin. I'm trying not to do the full screen thing so you guys can see what's going on. There we are. That should be a little bit better. Yay! Alright, covering up who's in the Discord isn't all that important. Alright, so out of the VA, the new VA subsidy will help low-income and formerly homeless veterans afford housing in high-rent communities. Okay, I is growing the tired. Okay, cool. All right, so according to the latest out of the VA this morning, a new VA subsidy will help low-income and formerly homeless veterans afford housing in high-rent communities. The Shallow Subsidy Initiative provides low-income veterans a fixed rental subsidy for up to 2 years. The subsidy is available to veterans who are enrolled in the Supportive Services for Veteran Families program and live in communities characterized by high rates of homelessness and low availability of affordable housing. To encourage long-term self-sufficiency through employment, renters receive the subsidy for up to 2 years, regardless of any increase in their household income. Through a competitive application process, VA awards SSVF grants to private, nonprofit organizations and consumer co-ops to provide eligible veteran families with outreach, case management, and assistance in obtaining VA and other mainstream benefits that promote housing stability and community integration. SSVF has recently partnered with the U.S. Department of Labor's Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program to co-enroll shallow subsidy participants in employment and training programs to help them become economically self-sufficient by the end of their 2-year subsidy. So that's, something to smile about. Morning, Maniac Man. So in case you did fix the typo, okay. In case you guys want to read more about that particular link, there you are. I'm all about the vets. I like doing the vet stuff. Okay, Federal Reserve. We got remarks this morning by Governor Bowman. On direction of supervision, we've got the National Guard, we've got UK House of Commons tackling crime, we've got the US Commerce Department for a webinar series and supporting first responders operations today at 11. Mountain time. Well, you can't stream while I'm streaming, so I'm not going to stream while you're... So, I'm not going to stream your stream because I'm streaming, so there. Yeah. European Commission, viruses do not stop at borders. No shit, Sherlock. That's obvious. Hello, Captain Obvious, out of the EU. FBI Knoxville. On this International Polar Bear Day, we give a shout out to our Alaska colleagues who are privileged to work near the home of these beautiful animals. All right. Yep, we don't screw with polar bears. President of Russia is meeting with the president of Kyrgyzstan. I'm not even going to try that name. And bilateral cooperation coordinated work within the integration associations. The FCC is holding its February open meeting. Boy, it's the end of February. You guys are a little late on this. Which includes agenda items on the C-band auction, updates to TV white spaces, and expanding information sharing on communications outages during natural disasters. So that's going on. Maniac Man on YouTube said, I was thinking we should ask within our respective circles for people to cast for the radio drama. Of course, that's the easy part. Convincing others outside is going to be hard. Yeah, it is. It is. It's going to be slow and building up, but I think once we get it going, it'll really pick up. Department of State will honor Ralph J. Bunch as one of its heroes of diplomacy for his contributions to the department, the UN, and the international community. We got a VA out of South Lake City. Wearable sensor predicts worsening heart failure and could prevent hospitalization, according to a new study from researchers here at George E. Wallen VA Medical Center. All right, so I'm going to copy link to tweet. We're going to put this in all the chats simultaneously. There we go, for you guys that want to see that tweet. So we are here, and we're scrolling down. Acting Commissioner Mark Morgan, CBP's mission spans border security threats, as well as a humanitarian crisis that requires specialized care for families and children. Our success depends on Congress's continued support to provide resources that will enable us to have the right personnel, infrastructure, and tech, which makes sense. And fighting for retirement. Okay, so that's about it right there. The current totals, because I'm doing this every week now. Come on. The current total confirmed cases of COVID-19 is 82,549. 60 confirmed cases in the United States. However, no deaths are reported from those cases. And 6 total recovered. So out of the 6, you got 2 in Illinois that are recovered, 2 in California. We've got 1 in Washington and 1 in Arizona that has recovered. So, as we are tracking the virus, mainland China obviously is going to have the biggest ones. So, out of the 82,000 confirmed, we got over 78,000 in mainland China, 1,766 in South Korea, others is 705. Italy this morning has 528 confirmed cases, 245 in Iran, 189 confirmed cases in Japan, 93 in Singapore, 92 in Hong Kong, 60, as already discussed, from the United States, 43 in Kuwait, 40 in Thailand, 33 in Bahrain, 32 in Taiwan, 26 in Germany, 23 each in Australia and Malaysia, 18 in France, 16 in Vietnam, 15 apiece in Spain and the UK, 13 in the United Arab Emirates, 11 in Canada, 10 in Macau, 6 in Iraq, 4 in Oman and Switzerland each, 3 each in Israel, India, Philippines, Croatia, Austria, Greece, 2 each in Finland, Sweden, Russia, Pakistan, Lebanon, 1 each in Afghanistan, Nepal, Cambodia, Norway, Algeria, Belgium, Georgia, Denmark, North Macedonia, Brazil, Romania, Estonia, Egypt, and Sri Lanka. And I clicked on that on accident because I'm an idiot. All right, we have 33,252 recovered, most of which obviously are in mainland China. Those that are not in China include, let me see, 62 recovered in Singapore, 49 recovered in Iran, 43, oh, that's China again, 40 recovered in Italy, 24 recovered in Hong Kong, 22 recovered each in Japan, South Korea, and Thailand, 18 apiece recovered in Qinghai, mainland China, and Malaysia, 16 recovered in Vietnam, 15 recovered in Germany, 11 recovered in France, 10 recovered on the Diamond Princess cruise ship, 8 recovered in Macau, 8 recovered in the UK, 5 recovered in Taiwan, 4 each recovered in New South Wales, Australia, Victoria, Australia, United Arab Emirates, 3 recovered each in British Columbia, Canada. Gaffs abound. 3 recovered in India, 2 each recovered in South Australia, 2 in Toronto, Russia, Spain, Illinois, all those have 2 recovered. 1 recovered in Queensland, 1 recovered in Belgium, 1 in Cambodia, 1 in London, Ontario, Canada, 1 in Finland, 1 in Israel, 1 in Tibet, 1 in Nepal, 1 in the Philippines, 1 in Sri Lanka. Then we have 1 each in San Diego County, California, Santa Clara, Seattle, Washington, and Tempe, Arizona. So those are the running numbers this morning. Yep. Good grief. Yeah. So yep, those are the confirmed cases and total recovered. Total deaths, 26 in Iran. I'm not counting the China one because obviously China is going to have the most deaths. 14 in Italy, 13 in South Korea. Scrolling down, 4 deaths on the Diamond Princess cruise ship, 3 in Japan, 3 deaths in France, 2 deaths in Hong Kong. Let me see, 1 death each in the Philippines and Taiwan. Rachel, see, that's my state. We won't let a little cold get us down, right? Yep. Okay, so as most of you have realized by now, which isn't a surprise for a lot of us that like to follow these things and that have been following the news for a while, you know, you've got the Congress over here that keeps trying to demonize Trump, and then you have Trump and Pence over here trying to do what they can. But, you know, the Congress keeps acting like, you know, Trump and Pence ain't doing shit. Because, you know, Trump is not Hillary Killington. And yes, I will call her that until the day I fucking die. I hate that woman. I'll hate that woman with a passion. Lord have mercy. Okay, so, 3 days ago, the White House unveiled a $2.5 billion emergency coronavirus request. This is out of the PBS. What's that? What's that? They unveiled an emergency corona request? Gee, let's see what that request looks like, shall we? Baby girl, Mama's working. Go fetch. Don't come back. All right, so on the 24th of February, we have the Honorable Michael R. Pence, President of the Senate, saying, "Dear Mr. President, in late December 2019, China identified a novel coronavirus which was causing human-to-human transmission and has subsequently been named COVID-19. Check DMs. Okay, I will in a minute. All right, COVID. Where was I? Okay. On January 30th, 2020, the World Health Organization declared a public health emergency of international concern due to widespread transmission of the virus. As of February 23rd, 2020, there are, and we know that it's gotten a lot worse, and there's more countries affected now, and there'll probably be more countries showing up. Fountain of love and kindness for all, right? There'll probably be more showing up because, as we discussed on Tuesday, even though they're averaging an incubation time of 5 to 7 days, some people have incubated COVID-19 as long as 27 days. That is correct. You heard me correctly. Some people incubate the illness for 27 days before they start showing signs of being ill with the sickness. Let me see here. Checking my DMs. All right, we'll get to that in a minute. We will get to that in a minute. I'll just copy that link address and I'll post it somewhere else. I don't open DMs on, I had to open a different window. All right, so the president's priority is protecting the homeland, and the administration is working aggressively to minimize the risk of the virus in the United States. The president has created a coronavirus task force to direct the U.S. response. This task force is led by the Secretary of Health and Human Services and is composed of subject matter experts from across government, including some of the nation's foremost experts on infectious diseases. On January 31st, 2020, the Secretary of HHS declared a public health emergency. HHS has tapped into the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention CDC Infectious Diseases Rapid Response Reserve Fund, because we love extremely long titles to describe something that could probably be described in 4 words or less. But we're the government. The more words, the more official it sounds, apparently. In addition, fiscal year 2020 funds are being reprioritized across HHS as necessary to address the virus. The government has taken unprecedented steps to minimize the risk of travelers spreading COVID-19 to the United States. The president suspended entry into the United States of certain foreign nationals who have recently traveled to China and who pose a risk of transmitting the virus, and directed inbound flights from China to 11 airports where enhanced screening now takes place. Now, as you can imagine, and I will paste this here, hit enter and come back over to the letter. As you can imagine, it is this that pretty much has everybody in an uproar. I don't see any problems with this, okay? You're trying to contain a major outbreak. Morning, cynical Lindsay. You're trying to contain a major outbreak. The first thing you're going to do after you have realized where ground zero is and where this virus is coming from is shut down all travel to either shut down all travel to and from that country, or divert travel to certain airports that are capable of quarantining people as they're coming off the airplanes in order to prevent the spread. However, since this is Trump and not Hillary Killington, I will give everyone 3 guesses in all live chats as to guess what they're calling Trump, because he's not allowing anybody to come from or go to China. I'll give you 3 guesses as to what they're calling him, and the first 2 guesses don't count. The government has conducted numerous charter flights to evacuate American citizens from Wuhan in the Hubei province, China, and the cruise ship Diamond Princess back to the United States. All passengers are screened for symptoms before the flights, and medical professionals continue to monitor the health of all returning passengers. Now, as I've already stated, the average incubation of this disease is 5 to 7 days. However, there have been cases that have incubated this for 27. At the direction of the president and under the auspices of the task force, several federal agencies are contributing significant resources and personnel to support the domestic and international response. To this point, no agency has been inhibited in response efforts due to resources or authorities. However, much is still unknown about this virus. A good Samaritan. Nice try, Richo. And the disease it causes. The administration believes additional federal resources are necessary to take steps to prepare for a potential worsening of the situation in the United States, and requests an appropriation. It starts with an R and ends with a T. Exactly, Lindsay, exactly. However, much is still unknown about this virus and the disease it causes. The administration believes additional federal resources are necessary to take steps to prepare for a potential worsening of the situation in the United States, and requests an appropriation of $1.5 billion of emergency funding in the Public Health and Social Services Emergency Fund at HHS to continue supporting critical response and preparedness activities. In addition, the administration is requesting that the Congress permit the $535 million in emergency supplemental funding appropriated in the Agriculture Rural Development, Food and Drug Administration, and Related Agencies Appropriation Act 2020 to the Public Health and Social Services Emergency Fund at HHS for the prevention of the treatment of Ebola to be used for the COVID-19 response. Okay, that in English. Hey guys, you know that $535 million that we appropriated to help people that aren't even in the country deal with the Ebola virus that's already been taken care of in those countries? Yeah, we need that $535 million put toward the COVID-19 virus. If you can do that, that's fine. That's good. Can we do that? We need to reappropriate that money. We need to take it from the Ebola and we need to shove it over there to help with the COVID-19 response. Just so we're on the same page, fellas. We need to be on the same page, fellas. Tremendous progress has been made on Ebola, and the current national response priority should be COVID-19, as it should be. These two proposals would make a $1.8 billion in new resources available for the current response, which is true. Okay, we're doing this good so far. The funding will support all aspects of the U.S. response, including public health, preparedness and response efforts, public health surveillance, epidemiology, laboratory testing, and quarantining costs, advanced research and development of new vaccines, therapeutics and diagnostics, advanced manufacturing enhancements, and the strategic national stockpile. Funds would also be made available as necessary to affected states that are making contributions to the current national response. So, here we go. Because this funding arises from an unforeseen, unanticipated event and is necessary for the protection of human life, these supplemental resources should be designated as emergency funding. In addition to these emergency supplemental appropriations, the administration is seeking enhanced authorities to use existing resources most effectively and to create additional flexibility for directing resources toward the response. These flexibilities include the ability for HHS to transfer funds to CDC, the National Institutes of Health, the Food and Drug Administration, the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness and Response, and other components as necessary to carry out further response activities. This also includes enhanced transfer authority for the Secretary of the COVID-19 response, similar to the authority already provided for the HHS Refugee and Entrant Assistance Account. In addition, the administration seeks an increase of the authorized funding level to $10 million for the repatriation program within the Administration for Children and Families for potential future response activities. So, let me see. Cynical Lindsay, I was telling my husband last night that I have a strong feeling that if an outbreak should happen in the U.S., the red states will have a better handle on this, and the heavily populated blue states will be the epicenter. See California and New York. Yeah, I mean, that was part of the map that I showed, that if I were to click on the U.S. and we were to take a closer look, a lot of it's over there on the West Coast, and then you have that spot in New York. Of course, there are some people in Texas. I will go back to that in a second. Thank you for your consideration of these funding needs. I urge the Congress to take swift action to provide the additional funding requested to support the United States response to COVID-19. I am ready to stand with you to achieve this goal. Now, here's the part I skipped that I shouldn't have because my brain just decided, oh, you read that part. With the appropriation of the new emergency funding as well as the repurposing of fiscal year 2020 Ebola resources, reprioritization of other fiscal year 2020 funding across HHS and contributions from other government agencies across the government, we expect to allocate at least $2.5 billion with a B in total resources for COVID-19 response efforts. So that's where the total of $2.5 billion comes from. Now, you would think this would be enough to satisfy some people. No. Here comes the twidiocy. Coronavirus poses a serious health, diplomatic, and economic threat. Okay, I can agree with you so far. And we must be prepared to confront it head on, so I'm introducing a bill to transfer all funding for Donald Trump's racist border wall. There's the twidiocy. Twidiocy. We have twidiocy. To HHS Gov and USAID to combat coronavirus. dramatic pause. Because this is definitely Twidiousy. Because, you know, she thinks she's really important. Little Miss Handouts. So, here we go, y'all. Here's the Twidiousy for the morning. Senator Warren unveils legislation to defund President's border wall. Use funds to combat coronavirus outbreak. Bill would generate an estimated $10 billion in funding for coronavirus efforts. Cynical Lindsay. There was one case here in Arizona, but that was a month ago. And as of right now, I checked the local news and there have been no new cases. I hope it stays that way. I hope it stays that way too. My fingers are crossed. The coronavirus outbreak poses serious health, diplomatic, and economic threats to the United States, and we must be prepared to confront it head on, said Senator Warren. Rather than use taxpayer dollars to pay for a monument to hate and division, my bill will help ensure the federal government has the resources it needs to adequately respond to this emergency. Translation: because I want open borders no matter fucking what, Trump is a racist and we need to take his money away from the wall and put it over here to fight COVID-19. That's pretty succinct. It's pretty much what she's saying. Currently, more than 81,000 people have contracted the coronavirus, which is highly communicable and has killed approximately 3,000 people. A little bit more now. The World Health Organization has declared the outbreak a public health emergency of international concern, and the HHS Secretary Alex Azar has declared it a public health emergency in the United States. In addition, officials at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recently announced that Americans should prepare in the expectation that a U.S. coronavirus outbreak will be bad. Really? And stated that it's not so much a question of if this will happen, or rather a question of when. Because we all know, you know, Senator Warren is the epitome of integrity and standing by your guns. Little Miss, you know, nobody else is, you know, everybody else is taking super PAC money, so I'm going to take it too. Green Badger. So let's open the borders to fight the pandemic. Basically, Senator Warren, let me make this a little bit bigger, that way you guys can see it. Senator Warren wrote to federal agencies raising concerns over reports that appeared to show confusion and disagreement between federal officials earlier this month when State Department and HHS officials overruled CDC recommendations during the evacuation of American citizens with coronavirus from Japan. Which, I'm sorry, I may sound like a bitch for this, but if you have a confirmed case of coronavirus and you are abroad as a United States citizen, don't come back here until you're cured. And if you come back here, your ass is going to be quarantined until you're cured. Yeah, she is a dumbass. Because I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on this. Because nothing says dumb like reading a 2-page bill. You see how it doesn't even have numbers on it yet, right? So here we are. Miss Warren, as it says on here, introduced the following bill, which was read twice and referred to the committee on, see, there's no dates on this, nothing, to transfer all border wall funding to the Department of Health and Human Services to combat coronavirus. Notwithstanding any other provision of law, any unobligated federal funds appropriated to otherwise made available to plan, develop, or construct a physical barrier along the international border between the United States and Mexico shall be immediately transferred to the Department of Health and Human Services and the United States Agency for International Development for the express purpose of combating coronavirus disease. So I have one question for Miss Warren, who will probably never see this live stream on any platform. Did we forget about this? Did we? Did we forget about this? What does this say? Gee, this is titled National Biodefense Strategy 2018. Wasn't that 2 years ago? Wasn't Trump the president 2 years ago? Gee, by the president, none other. So we're going to skip past this. Table of contents, biological risk management, page 2. Well, I don't think we're at page 2 yet. Nope. So here we go. Page 2. Poor excuse to remove wall funding. It is. Threats and consequences. See, this is the part I like because they completely forget that he outlined this back in 2018. Infectious disease threats do not respect borders. I'm going to say that louder for the closed-minded people in the back. Infectious disease threats do not respect borders. Urbanization, habitat encroachment, and increased and faster travel, coupled with weak health systems, increase the ability of infectious diseases to spread rapidly across the globe. Antimicrobial resistance, novel infectious diseases, and the resurgence of spread of once geographically limited infectious diseases can overwhelm response capacities and make outbreaks harder to control. An infectious disease outbreak, even in the most remote places of the world, could spread rapidly across oceans and continents, directly impacting the U.S. population, its health, security, and prosperity. It's almost like he thought about this 2 years ago. Almost. Biological risk management requires understanding and assessing biological risks and taking steps to prepare for, prevent, and respond to them, regardless of whether they originate in the United States or abroad. It also requires shared international recognition that the risk is global to empower effective collective mitigation. In our interconnected world, it is not if, but when the next biological incident will occur. This sounds reasonable so far. Don't forget, if you wish to support the stream and you are on YouTube, the Streamlabs link is in the description, as well as the Redbubble merch store and crowdfunding such as Zero Strings and Coffee. Any and all support is welcome. Don't forget to like and share the stream out on DLive or Periscope if you are so listening. So yeah, so it's almost like he thought about this. Almost. So we're going to come down here and we're going to read, not all of it, but some of this. So we're going to go down to page 9. So I'm going to hit Control F, page 9. And here we go. We're going to take a look at this. This is 7. That's 8. And here's page 9. All right, here we go. Goal 1. Gee. He thought this shit through, didn't he? But he's a shitty president. Just throwing that out there. Enhance intelligence and analysis activities. So what exactly does that mean on Goal 1? Enable risk awareness to inform decision making across the biodefense enterprise. What exactly does that mean? Provide timely intelligence analysis and information that identifies and assesses current and future biological threats posed by nation state and non-state actors. Provide strategic warning for and assess the potential impacts of disease with the potential to affect U.S. national security or interests abroad, including assessments of the potential cascading effects. Incorporate forecasting and modeling into intelligence products and processes as appropriate. Excuse me. Routinely evaluate developments and advances in the life sciences, biotechnology, and related fields to identify emerging hazards and mitigation options. Over here, conduct periodic national bioincident risk assessments to evaluate the risks, including relative risks of deliberate, accidental, and naturally occurring bioincidents. Deliberate. It's almost like he had bioweapons in mind. Assess the security risks posed by the deliberate misuse of biotechnologies and life sciences research and training with dual use potential. Assess the risks posed by research, such as with potential pandemic pathogens, where biosafety lapses could have very high consequences. Provide all levels of government with a common basis for understanding biological risks to support operational planning and preparedness actions. Develop risk-informed planning scenarios to facilitate capability and capacity assessments and identify gaps. Green Badger over on YouTube. Sure, it sounds reasonable. Have you considered Orange Man Bad? Nah. Here's where it gets good. Alright, here we are. 1.2. Ensure that domestic and international biosurveillance and information sharing systems are coordinated, and are capable of timely bioincident prevention, detection, assessment, response, and recovery. Is that about 4D chess? I don't know. Using a multi-sectoral approach, promote timely sharing of biosurveillance information among federal and SLTT biosurveillance programs and other federal programs designed to investigate biothreats and bioincidents. Coordinate and exchange relevant information between environmental biological detection systems and biosurveillance networks. Strengthen foreign governments and international bodies' capability and commitment to identify, characterize, and report biothreats and bioincidents rapidly and transparently. This is absolutely wonderful. However, this doesn't work in cases of communist countries that want to look better than they actually are. But it's not a bad thing. What I have highlighted is not a bad thing at all. Integrate international disease reporting data with domestic biosurveillance systems to enable early action that limits potential impact. It's almost like he had a plan in mind to help contain the spread of a virus. Don't know what gave me that idea. Create biosurveillance and situational awareness reports tailored to inform decision makers, the public, partner nations, and other audiences routinely and during bioincident response. Ensure that the federal government, SLTT governments, partner nations, and the private sector have appropriate access to relevant information and analysis. As appropriate, ensure rapid downgrade of classified or otherwise sensitive intelligence information and write intelligence products for release as appropriate to enable sharing with those who need to act on it. Wait. That sounds like interdepartmental and international cooperation in order to help contain and eradicate a virus. But he's racist, so why would he want to help other nations, combat viruses? I mean, if he's racist, he wouldn't want to do that, right? I'm snarky as fuck today. Develop and deploy enhanced biosurveillance and bioincident characterization capabilities. Maintain and enhance public health, medical, animal, and plant surveillance systems for disease outbreaks that pose a risk to national security. Okay. So far, so good. I don't have any problems with this shit. Maintain, promote the sustainable development, maintenance, and improvement of SLTT, private sector, federal, regional, and international, United States government, and other national surveillance systems and networks with reliable access to trained workforces and essential infrastructure for human, animal, and plant diseases. It sounds like he's got his shit together to me. Okay, here about the biosurveillance laboratory operations. Promote the sustainable development, maintenance, and improvement of SLTT, private sector, federal, regional, and international laboratory networks with reliable access to trained workforces and essential infrastructure for human, animal, and plant diseases. Sounds like he's promoting a worldwide environment for cooperation. Why would he do that if he's racist? Promote interoperability of laboratory reporting systems at all levels of government. Strengthen capabilities and address appropriate needs for sharing under both routine and crisis conditions. Timely formation, samples, and reagents among sectors, including research, human, animal, and plant health, emergency services, and law enforcement. Address impediments to the timely sharing of information, samples, and reagents among countries and international organizations under both routine and crisis conditions. I mean, it seems like he had a plan. So, promote measures to prevent or reduce the spread of naturally occurring infectious diseases. Now, see, all this stuff to me, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see this a little bit better. There we go. All this is to me is your basic plan of containing a virus once it has been found, once it has been discovered. What's the first thing you do? You shut down any and all travel. You set up quarantine centers. All this while you're trying to find patient zero, as well as where it started. Because it starts with a who and a where, and then it goes everywhere else unless it gets contained. The problem is, with the incubation period having been found a lot later than this shit was coming out of China, because China, and approved information out of China, you already had people on cruise ships, airplanes, and the like going back home, which is why we have it spread all over the globe at this point. Because instead of saying we might have a problem here, let's do this press release, let's shut down Hubei province, let's keep this contained, I'm sorry, but you can't come home, they let people leave. So what happens to people that are carriers of a virus, that are exhibiting symptoms of a virus, when they're allowed to travel? They get exposed to other people that haven't been exposed to the virus yet, whether that be by cruise ship or airplane, so they can spread it by ship and plane. That way those people on those conveyances can then in turn spread it when they get home. Now, obviously you have people on the far left, as well as, your Democrats in Congress, saying that he should have done something when it was still in China. What the fuck are you going to do when it's still in China? How are you going to tell China how to do their job? You can't blame him for something that started in China. It started in China. But they're going to try and blame him for everything under the sun because Orange Man bad and he's not Hillary Killington. At this point, it has reached a level of ridiculousness that it maintains a head-shaking nature, in my opinion. Because this is stupid. This is absolutely fucking stupid in every sense of the word. You can't blame the man for not being able to support something when it wasn't his fault to begin with. But they're going to blame him because, he's not Hillary Killington. Not to mention the people who are COVID-19 positive that are asymptomatic. To my understanding, China didn't include asymptomatic in their number of cases. No, they didn't. But in typical, we must control the story coming out of our country fashion, that could also be under the guise of improving the rate at which they confirm cases of the disease. Because remember, the number of cases in China jumped. And the first time it jumped, they said it was because they improved their capability of diagnosing and confirming the virus in patients. I think, personally, because I don't trust communist and socialist societies to say anything of 100% accuracy, I think, tinfoil hat, that they realized this shit was getting big and that they weren't going to be able to hide this for much longer. You couple that realization with the fact that there were a lot of people in China risking their own freedom to release what was actually happening in Wuhan, that left the Chinese government no choice but to have that jump in confirmed cases and come up with some cockamamie reasoning as to why the number jumped. I mean, think about it. It's just, it boggles the mind. It really boggles the mind. All right, so we have... strengthen global health security capacities and to prevent local bio-incidents from becoming epidemics. Promote global health security, strengthen country capacity to prevent, detect, and respond to bio-incidents. Deter, detect, degrade, disrupt, deny, or otherwise prevent nation, state, and non-state actors' attempts to pursue, acquire, or use biological weapons, related materials, or their means of delivery. Strengthen biosafety and biosecurity practices and oversight to mitigate risks of bio-incidents. It's like they totally forgot that this thing existed. That he took this out in 2018. Wasn't 2018 when the whole Ebola thing was happening? Wasn't that 2018? I mean, either confirm it or deny it. If I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. But I think this came out during the whole Ebola thing. So this has been out for a while for them to say he's not doing anything. Now, as we all are firmly, keenly, and painfully aware, shouts have been going all over the place because he has been cutting budgets in his new budget proposal, that he's cutting stuff for the Health and Human Services. Okay, so we're going to see where exactly these cuts are. We're going to get down and dirty with these cuts. And I mean down and dirty with these cuts. So I'm going to keep this on the screen for a moment because I have got to go and get me something else to drink. I'll be right back. Waiting for Spotify so I can give you guys some music so you're not here like completely silent. Okay. Spotify took too long, so I just went ahead and left and came back. Okay, so here we are. These budget cuts that people are crowing about. So, the highlights on this proposed budget plan that is out this 2020. The mission of the Department of Health and Human Services is to protect and strengthen the health and well-being of Americans through effective health and human services for the American people and by fostering sound, sustained advances in the sciences underlying medicine, public health, and social services. The budget addresses the nation's critical public health needs through investments that combat the opioid epidemic and support mental health services, increase efforts to eliminate infectious diseases, support high-priority biomedical research, speed access to new innovative technology, and enhance emergency preparedness and health security. The budget also offers securities to reduce the drug-related costs, improve the health of older Americans, and strengthen work requirements to promote self-sufficiency. The budget also invests in child care to support America's working families and promotes work among the able-bodied adults receiving assistance. The 2020 budget requests $87.1 billion for HHS, a 12% decrease from the 2019 estimated level. We're going to get to the cuts in a minute. The budget proposes $1248.8 billion. That's a lot of billions. I hope in net mandatory savings, reducing longer-term deficits. So, oh shit, I scrolled too far. All right, so let's see here. The budget supports the mission of HHS while creating a streamlined federal government that promotes the most efficient and effective use of taxpayer dollars, which is one of the things that he promised when he was running for office. To cut out all the fat, get down to the meat and potatoes, streamline everything so there isn't a misuse in funds or there's not too much money going to the same place. Because there is a lot of needless spending in the government that could be trimmed. I mean, let's be honest. All right, here we go. In addition to progress already being made by the administration, the budget makes significant investments to combat the drug abuse and opioid epidemic, which claimed more than 70,000 lives in 2017. That's true. In the last year, the president released a new initiative to stop opioid abuse and reduce drug supply and demand, secured $6 billion in new resources in 2018 and 2019 to combat the epidemic, and signed the Support for Patients and Communities Act, which enhances the federal response to the opioid epidemic. I don't see any problems there. So, here we go. The budget sustains critical investments in surveillance, prevention, treatment, access to overdose reversal drugs, recovery support services, and research. For example, the budget includes $1.5 billion for state opioid response grants, which fund prevention, treatment, and recovery support services. The budget maintains more than $1 billion in the National Institutes of Health for opioid and pain research, including the continuation of the Helping to End Addiction long-term initiative that began in 2018. And there's my dog barking at the wind. The budget includes $221 million to expand the behavioral health workforce, including an additional $4 million for the new effort authorized in the Support for Patients and Communities Act to increase the number of providers that are able to prescribe medication-assisted treatment. The budget maintains $120 million to support treatment and prevention of substance disorder, including opioid abuse in rural communities at the highest risk. Okay. The budget provides $476 million for CDC to continue current activities in support of all 50 states and territories. Yeah. You want to decrease demand for opioids, says Cynical Lindsay on YouTube. Legalize cannabis. Just saying. Yeah, I mean, you know. I can't disagree with that. As somebody who studied natural health for over 20 years, I know the medicinal value of cannabis. So, yeah, I can't disagree with that. CDC would prioritize expanding support to states and territories to collect and report real-time overdose and robust overdose mortality data. The budget also provides $58 million for CDC to address the infectious disease consequences of the opioid epidemic. Also, what would help is the closing of these pain clinics that just prescribe opioids to prescribe opioids. Hello, Saturday Sandy, welcome back. Because let's face it, all these under the guise or title of pain management clinics are all these clinics that all you have to do is walk in, tell them you hurt, and they literally just write you a script for something that is highly addictive. Reforms drug pricing and payment. Here we go. We're getting to the crux of the matter here. Modernizes the Medicare Part D prescription drug benefit. In the past year, the administration made great strides to better equip plans with the tools necessary to manage drug spending in the Part D program. The budget builds on this progress by addressing the misaligned incentives of the Part D benefit structure. The proposed changes are designed to encourage utilization of higher value drugs by eliminating cost sharing for generic drugs for beneficiaries who receive the low-income subsidy. Remove the competitive disadvantage placed on generic drugs that increases spending for both beneficiaries and the government, and provide beneficiaries with more predictable annual drug expenses through the creation of a new out-of-pocket spending gap. All right, here's a quiz for everybody listening across all three platforms. As it stands now, how many years is a designer drug or a new drug allowed to be out in the market before a generic counterpart can make an appearance? Reduces costs for Part B drugs. The budget addresses unnecessary... And don't Google it! Because that's cheating. Sandy, I'd love to be given an actual chance to put that to the test, but Scotland. Yeah, problem is there are people like my father in which we does Zippo. Yeah, maniac, man. I'd put me to sleep. I mean, I wouldn't be able to function. I get a whiff of this shit, I'm napping. I got the nods. All right, let's see here. Long-standing challenges in Part B include the lack of competition among drugs with similar health effects and limited tools to encourage lower drug prices. To address these challenges, the budget includes proposals targeted at removing 3-year payment protection of average sales price, plus 6% for certain new drugs provided in outpatient hospitals, deterring anti-competitive behavior from drug manufacturers that exploit aspects of the patent system. To keep out competition, and moving coverage of some Part B drugs to Part D to reduce spending while protecting beneficiaries' increased out-of-pocket costs. You see the shuffling. You know, in the preference or in the advantage of, you know, the big pharmaceuticals and their new name brand drugs. In addition, the budget limits growth in Part B drug payment to an inflation benchmark and mandates manufacturers report ASAP all data for all Part B drugs to improve payment accuracy. I don't see a problem with that. The budget also modifies hospitals' payment for drugs acquired through the 340B drug discount program by rewarding hospitals that provide charity care and reducing payments to hospitals that provide little to no charity care. Nice, I can be wide awake. I can have like a normal sleep schedule, catch a whiff of a pot, and be out like a light. That shit just zaps my energy. Yeah, chocolate helper. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Big fart. Yeah, it does. It sucks. In the United States, as it stands, that I know it. Okay? Because I don't know if the law has changed or not. I think they're trying to get it to change. A pharmaceutical company, upon approval and release of a new name brand prescription drug, can have that prescription drug out on the market without any generic competition for 10 years. 10 years. I don't know if that's changed, but the last time I looked it up, before any generic drugs can hit the market that can directly compete with the new name brand drug that has been released, the generic drug has to wait 10 years. Increases access to more affordable generics through greater competition. The budget would have a number of proposals to speed development of generics and eliminate loopholes, but have allowed drug companies to use regulatory framework to hinder competition. I think this is what he's trying to do here. I think he's trying to eliminate that 10-year gap. Oh, no, wait a minute. Here we go. Reform the current 180-day exclusivity forfeiture provision for first generics so that first generics do not block subsequent generics from the Food and Drug Administration. Okay. Oh, it's 5 years. Okay, 5 years, not 10. Clarify FDA's approach in determining whether a new drug is a new chemical entity to ensure that only truly innovative new drugs receive an additional 5 years of exclusivity. All right, so I was wrong. I stand corrected. But it still sucks. And definitely has patents, right? CMS, the FDA authority to address abuse of petition process, so FDA has greater flexibility to summarily deny petitions when circumstances indicate the primary purpose of the petition is to delay FDA approval. Enable FDA to tentatively approve a subsequent generic application, which would start the 180-day exclusivity clock when a first-to-file generic application cannot be approved due to deficiencies. Okay, so let's see here. Somebody was supposed to have done the math, but they never got back to me with the math. So, he's trying to cut the fat, and I just completely, empower states and consumers. Yes. Empower states and consumers to reform healthcare. All right. Once in the chat, if you completely agree with the fact that states should be allowed to make their own healthcare programs, single payer or otherwise, single payer actually. Under the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, PPACA, healthcare spending has increased, also known as Obamacare, significantly, particularly premiums for families without employer-sponsored coverage who don't qualify for Obamacare subsidies, like my parents. To help expand families' health coverage options, the president signed into law the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, which eliminated Obama's individual mandate penalty and took swift administrative actions that empower individuals to purchase health coverage that best suits their needs. Okay, yeah, I remember, everybody remembers when this happened. Because then you had the, oh my God, X billions of people are now without medical insurance. Well, I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry. But when you cannot afford the mandated fee that you're making people, shit. My mom went on that goddamn Obamacare website, followed everything she needed to follow, read everything she needed to read, filled out everything they wanted her to fill out, and they told her it was what'd she tell me? $750 a month for Obamacare coverage, and she did not, and I repeat, did not qualify for any subsidies that would have made it cheaper. This is a woman on Social Security because she's retired. So you're telling me under Obamacare, most of her Social Security check would have been yeeted for this fucking overbloated healthcare system. Because this is ridiculous. Some new flexibilities already implemented include expanding access to association. Right. I just let him take it out of my refund. Well, fuck it. It's easier for you to take it out of the refund than for me to go to your goddamn website and figure out how much I have to pay you or how much you're going to stiff me for. Some new flexibilities already implemented include expanding access to association health plans for employers and many self-employed individuals, extending the duration and renewability of short-term limited duration insurance, and proposing to allow employers to offer health reimbursement arrangements to employees for purchasing individual market coverage. The budget supports several initiatives to empower states and consumers to gain control over health care and increase affordability and consumer choice. The only way we're going to see, and this is just my opinion, so I am prefacing this. This is my opinion. I need a my opinion button. The only way that health care is going to truly be affordable across all the 50 states and territories therein is if you make it a free market system and make everything transparent to how much it takes, to how much it costs to have your appendix taken out, to much more intrusive surgeries. Wasn't Obamacare originally a Republican proposal to counter Hillary's back? Nope, it wasn't. It wasn't. The only way to lower costs, for prescription drugs, examinations, procedures, and the like, is to make the prices for all of that transparent. Open market health care. Because let me tell you, if I go to Dr. B because B is 40% cheaper than Dr. A is going to start reassessing why his shit's so expensive. But in order for that to happen, the insurance for doctors' malpractice needs to be reevaluated. It needs to be looked into. It needs to be retooled and overhauled. Because right now, people are suing just for anything under the sun and claiming that, it's malpractice. And that's why that's one of the reasons costs have been going up, in my opinion. Is the malpractice insurance is fucking woo. Modernizes Medicaid to enhance state flexibility, which it needs to do. Reduces wasteful Medicaid spending. Oh, you mean we're actually going to go into oversights now? The budget takes numerous steps to reduce wasteful Medicaid spending. Budget proposes eliminating loopholes that some states use to shift and increase costs to federal taxpayers and for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. No name, how did you get open market health care and equate that to me wanting to go to Romania? I don't get it. Improves program integrity for Medicare, Medicaid, and CHIP, which means they're not eliminating CHIP. There you go. Strengthens and protects Medicare programs. Supports access to innovative new medical technology. Launches an initiative to end the HIV epidemic in America. Well, gee. What's all that fear-mongering again? Let's see here. Let me see what it says here. The 2020 budget provides a total of $291 million to HHS for ending HIV epidemic initiative. For the Ending HIV Epidemic Initiative. No, Dr. A, Dr. B is in boy. B is in boy. 2020 budget provides a total... okay, let me do that. Of this amount, the budget provides $140 million for CDC to reduce new HIV infections by working closely with state and local health departments on intensive testing and referral to care efforts in areas of the nation that constitute the majority of new infections. This is really good. Now, California needs to go back to criminalizing those who willingly and knowingly infect others with the HIV virus. And it's more than a fucking misdemeanor, because if you know you have HIV or full-blown AIDS and you knowingly infect somebody else with that fucking disease, you have basically given them a death sentence and you're just getting off with a hand slap. California's so backwards, I swear. Reforms and improves the U.S. Public Health Service Commission Corps. Prioritizes critical health research. The budget provides $33 million to improve public health by advancing knowledge of living systems to tackle major health challenges and improve diagnoses, prevention, and treatment of diseases and disorders. Strengthens healthcare services for American Indians and Alaska Natives, but he's racist. Enhances emergency preparedness and health security, but he's a xenophobe. Ding ding. The budget includes an increase of $10 million for the Strategic National Stockpile compared to 2019. Okay, so far I haven't seen anything about a budget cut. Let's see. Where's the 12% come in at? So far I haven't seen anything about budget cuts. Expands, supports, all this stuff costs money. Where do we get to the cuts at? And that's it. Okay, so 12%, but I don't see where the cuts are at. The budget improves consistency between work requirements and federally funded public assistance programs, including Medicaid individuals find employment, train for work. Okay, let me do a Google search here, because this is I'm reading that and I'm not seeing. Come on. All right, here we go. Let me see where it is. Not Washington Post, not WSJ, NIH. That is Nation's Health, and that's a .org. I'm looking. Live searches is what this is about. CDC budget, new. That's 2019. What's that going to be? Hey, P-Dog. How you doing? Let me see. Health 2020. All right, that's Washington. That's WAPO. I don't like WAPO. CNBC, GenomeWeb.com. Let's try GenomeWeb.com. I just need a simple ABC breakdown. Okay, here we go. Hopefully this will do it. President Donald Trump today, and this was back on May 11th, 2019, a 12% decrease in funding to the National Institutes of Health as part of the White House's budget plan for fiscal year 2020. The proposal, called A Budget for a Better America, which I just read a little bit of, President Trump seeks $34.37 billion for the NIH in the coming fiscal year, a figure that includes $492 million in resources made available through the 21st Century Cures Act and $150 million in mandatory funding. NIH is funded at $39.31 billion for the current fiscal year. Let's see here. The White House budget plan calls for cuts across all NIH agencies in fiscal 2020, including the National Cancer Institute, which see its funding fall $897 million to $525 billion. The National Genome Research Institute, which would lose $80 million in funding to $495 million. The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, which would be allocated roughly $4.5 billion, down $769 million. And the National Lung, Heart, and Blood Institute, which would experience a $486 million funding reduction to $3 billion. Now, I'm reading this, and I have read not that one. And we're going through this. Okay? And I'm going to keep digging, and it's probably going to be a blog post for a follow-up. But I think those 12% cuts have nothing to do with research and development per se, like hands-on research and development. What I think he's trying to do, and this is speculation, hello, okay. What I think he's trying to do with a 12% cut is thin any redundant departments. I think what he's trying to do is streamline the process for research and development by eliminating redundant positions and, just shrinking the department to make it a little more efficient. Welcome, Costin. I think this is your first time, you and P Dog. So welcome. Pull up a chair and your favorite brew. I think what he's trying to do personally with the 12%, and I'm not defending because I think he's a pompous ass, is he's streamlining it. Remember, he thinks like a businessman. This is the mentality that you have to put yourself in. He thinks like a businessman. Chances are he has seen how this Health and Human Services Department works. He's taken a look at all the positions. He's taken a look at how each of the positions function within the department and the sub-departments within the department. And he probably saw redundancies that could have been gotten rid of in order to streamline the department to make it more efficient and to save money in the process. Because when you look at things from a business perspective, you're looking at things that will increase your bottom line and also increase the efficiency in which the business operates. So in this instance, in my opinion, he's treating the Health and Human Services Department of the government like the health industry business. And he's seen that it needs to be streamlined, and I think that's what he's doing with his 12% cut. Now, you can split hairs and say, oh my God, that much money is going to be, absolutely horrendous for sub-departments B, C, and E. Okay, but if a cut in, let's say, the cancer thing was mentioned, right? Let me see here. Bink. All right, let me see here. Yeah. All right, let me see. Okay, here we go. The National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, which would experience $486 million funding reduction to $3 billion. It's still $3 billion. Okay? What this is going to do for the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute is it's going to make the institute itself reevaluate how much money it's spending on the equipment that it needs to run these tests and do the research they need to do in order to lessen the instances of heart, lung, and blood diseases. I don't think it's going to hinder, I can't English, I don't personally think it's going to hinder the on-hand research. It's going to force the institute to be more efficient in its research and its findings for its final reports and recommendations of how to treat these particular illnesses. Okay? Because streamlining things tends to make it work better. Now, I said tends. There are always outliers and exceptions to the rule. Okay? But in some aspects of Washington, in references to budgets and setting budgets, you have to look at each individual department out of the White House as its own multi-billion-dollar business. And you have to ask yourself, how efficient is it running now? Can it be more efficient? Can it run better and produce the same or better results if we get rid of redundant systems, if we get rid of redundant positions, and if we streamline the processes in these departments? And if the answer is yes, then the cuts must be made. As it stands now, our budget is out of fucking control. And it got that way under the 8 years of the Obama administration because, to my recollection, and anybody can correct me in the live chat here, to my recollection, in the entire 8 years Obama was in office, there was never a budget set. Now, they raised the credit ceiling, or the debt ceiling, rather. They raised the debt ceiling, but I don't ever remember them agreeing and setting a fucking budget. They just kept kicking the can down the road to avoid having to close down the government. That's not a way to run a government. You can't run a household that way. I mean, think about it. If you were to run your household the way the 8 years of the Obama administration ran, you would have gone fucking bankrupt. Because you would have been living beyond your means trying to spend money that you didn't have. This is ridiculous. You know, they put him on a cross, they crucify him, they demonize him, they vilify him 7 ways to Sunday because he's not Hillary Killington. And that's all it boils down to. This has been a 4-year-long temper tantrum. And you know what? In November, it's probably going to lead to another 4-year-long temper tantrum that is never ending. Because they can't come up with candidates that are viable. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sick. It's horrid. Okay, so this was brought to me from Foxy as of today, this morning. Cruise ship docks in Mexico after being turned away from other ports and awaits medical clearance. I'm going to read that headline again, because that headline, ouch, son. Cruise ship docks in Mexico after being turned away from other ports, awaits medical clearance. Why was it turned away? Probably because of the coronavirus. That's just my guess. A cruise ship docked in the port in Cozumel, Mexico Thursday after being turned away in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands under unconfirmed medical concerns. Right. All right. According to Alejandra Aguirre in MSC Meraviglia, which was more than 6,000 people on board, is docked on the Mexican coast, but no passengers will step foot on Mexican soil until international health officials arrive. In order to protect the community in Quintana Roo, we implemented the health protocols for the Meraviglia cruise. The boat is located off the coast of Cozumel, she said in a tweet. So far, the passengers have not disembarked. We will verify their health conditions. Which is good. You have to. Just quarantine them, motherfuckers. Because you guys don't really. This shit doesn't need to spread any more than it already has. We need to just stop letting people go everywhere. Seriously. We do. That currently more than 80,000 confirmed coronavirus cases. Where's my map? 82,168 confirmed cases. And I clicked the wrong tab. I'm a zoomer. Mexico has yet to see a single confirmed case of the coronavirus within its borders. On Tuesday, Brazil confirmed the first case within Latin America. Italy has been the hardest hit country in Europe from the virus, with authorities reporting 447 people infected across 9 regions in the country. Which, according to this map, I think was a little bit more since we looked at it this morning. Let's see. Let us click on the map and see how many. Let me close that over there, though. Let me see. Italy. Yeah, 528 in Italy. 528 in Italy. One big old bright red dot. Shit. Alright, so in Italy, we have 14 deaths and 40 total recovered out of 528 confirmed cases. So back to the world map. Alright, so this is what we're facing. And I'm going to switch this over here, back to over here. This is what we're facing, okay? It's reaching pandemic levels. I don't want to be an alarmist, okay? Pandemic is a word that says it's pretty much, across the world in one capacity or another. It has gone from China all around the world at this point, okay? There's cases in the United States, 60 of them. And I think 16 have recovered. No deaths. Or 6 have recovered. with no deaths. Let me double check. Before I speak out of my ass, let me get this straight. Let me see here. Let me look, because I know it's here. Yeah, 6 total recovered from this. It's a highly communicable disease. It's, saliva, airborne. It's airborne. A lot of people are going, well, it doesn't last more than a few days once it's exposed to air. So it's no big deal. I have to disagree to a certain extent, because when you have places like malls, movie theaters, restaurants, airports, train stations, mass public transit, and then you have an incubation period for a disease that averages 5 to 7 days, with some outliers up to 27 days worth of incubation before anything is even shown. And then you have carriers of the disease that don't even know they're carrying it. A few days before the disease is no longer communicable is a lot. It's a whole lot. Because think about how many people use trains and subway systems in metro areas that have those services, that don't even know that they might have any virus, much less the coronavirus. I mean, the flu is transmitted as easily as breathing. It's airborne as well. But a lot of people don't know they have the flu. And that's how it spreads, and that's how it's prevalent. As it stands now in the United States, with only 60 confirmed cases of the coronavirus, the influenza virus is more of a threat at this point, in my opinion, in the United States than the coronavirus. Think about it. Just think about it. That's all I ask. Now, don't run around in a panic thinking it's the end of the world, that, we're all going to die of the coronavirus and blah, 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 and on and so on and so forth. Don't panic, okay? In instances like this, where you have a disease that is spreading, the confirmed cases are increasing week by week, the best thing for you to do is stay informed. Avoid alarmists. Avoid fearmongers. Keep your cool. And practice common sense. We all know how to keep each other healthy, keep ourselves healthy, and take care of ourselves. We all know through common sense, research, and example, what organizations we can refer to for information on what's going on with the coronavirus, and what outlets need to be avoided because of their fear-mongering and their alarmist views. Because while some outlets will have you thinking we're all going to die within 2 weeks, you have other outlets that are telling you, look, it's just this amount of people, and this is what you need to do to keep yourself healthy and protected. And this is this, and this is that, and this is the other. If you want weekly, rational updates on the coronavirus, check out the Dr. Mike YouTube channel. He is an actual physician that is keeping an eye on the situation, that is giving sound advice for being a general practitioner, and even answers questions and concerns that people may have about this disease, how it spreads, and so forth. He's very informative. He's plainly spoken, so he doesn't use a lot of medical terms. He uses English, and if he does use medical terms, he translates them so you can understand them, but not so much as to make you sound like an idiot or make you feel like an idiot. Okay? So, Until next time, thank you for coming to my little stream. Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time is going to be the science fiction episode of Old Time Radio Saturdays. So if you guys want to come help me heckle some old time radio science fiction radio shows, let me know, whether in DMs on Twitter or Discord. Until next time, guys, behave. But if you can't behave, at least be good at it. Bye.